Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Theje's StarCraft YouTube. Pretty much what I do here is I just sit on my ass. Actually, I'm not actually sitting on my ass. You see I have my legs crossed like you do in your seat so that my foot is directly underneath my ass, so I'm sitting on my foot. And it's probably going to go asleep very, very soon. And I'm drinking beer. Anyway, what we have today is another game featuring our favorite Protoss, Breath, here in the bottom right-hand corner. If you were drinking as much beer as I would, that would be the bottom left-hand corner, but it is in fact the bottom. It would be the top. Anyway, whatever. SirBubbles is his opponent. He is a Zerg player. And we are hoping for a good game this time. This time. Inferring that the previous games featuring Breath were bad. But they weren't. I did not want to infer that at all, that the previous games featuring Breath were bad. Anyway, I say Breath is everyone's favorite Protoss because, well, out of all the Protoss that I've cast on my channel, Breath is most likely going to be the Protoss player that is featured. Anyway, he's scouting in the incorrect direction up in the top right-hand corner. No! No! Get out of there! Get out of there! Don't go there either. Oh, you stupid bastard. Sorry. That's the beer talking. It's the alcohol. SirBubbles going for the 14 pool, probably 14 hatch build that I actually went over in my tutorial versus a very hard AI video that I just made. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. You know what beer I'm drinking right now? It's Alaskan Amber. And you may be sitting at home saying, hey, Theje, get back to the game. Well, screw you. You know when people watch this video? I guarantee you, in like 3 months, this video is only going to have like 5 views. So you know what? I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. That's the kind of nice thing about not having a lot of attention on your YouTube, you know? You know you're not going to have a lot of attention, so you just sort of kind of don't give a shit about what you say, what you do while you watch video. I can just, like, you know, do this bottomless. I don't care. Maybe that's what I want to do, but actually no, it's quite cold in my room because our AC works. Thunderstorm tonight out here. So that's kind of a freaky deaky thought. And I'm probably gonna have to censor that out. In fact, you probably didn't even hear me say that because, well, I did censor it out. I'm drunk and I revealed where I live. I didn't want to do that on YouTube. Never have, never will. So, yeah, you're probably just gonna be all like, because it's gonna have a thunderstorm here in the... Because that's what I did. I censored it out. Anyway, I'm actually gonna go over the game now because it's to that point where I can start talking about the game. Breath here with his Forge Fast Expand. SirBubbles, what a freaking cool name for a StarCraft 2. I would love to play against a guy named SirBubbles, but I guess that you don't actually fight people with cool names until like you get into like the Diamond or the Masters League. These guys are both in the Diamond League, I'm presuming. So SirBubbles going over that, or executing that build order that I showed you in my tutorial video. Versus very hard AI, which makes me nice and happy because that's like, that means it's a diamond level build, right? Except that I kind of F it up in my tutorial video. Maybe I shouldn't have posted it if I messed it up so bad, but the point of it was to show you how to get out of Bronze League using that build, and since I messed it up and still won handily, it just shows you that it works, and you can mess up. It's possible. Of course, at this stage of play, it's probably not a very good idea to mess up as much as I did in my tutorial video. Anyway, back to the game. Let's see. Let's go back to the production tab, see if there's anything sneaky going on from any of our two players. Creep tumor! Okay, that's not that bad. 2 Zerglings going out here, trying to get a good scout off in front of Breath's base by SirBubbles, but actually 1 Zergling going down to poor control, 2 Whoa. I bet you that hurt. Except that I didn't really see that many guts on the inside of that Zergling. It was sort of kind of all. 3rd base for SirBubbles down now, with that queen migrating over to that base. So, gonna see some nice little 3rd base play. That was probably down at about the 6-minute mark. A little bit slower than, say, what's his name? Stefano would do it. But pretty quick nonetheless. And in order to compensate for that build, Breath needs to build another base himself. But let's go ahead and take a look at the units tab to see how many probes and how many workers each side has. Breath right now currently leading, so let's take a look at the income tab, see if that has actually more minerals for him. No, because he's getting more gas. The Zerg player not getting into gas yet, usually by 7 minutes into the game at least. Even if you're going for like this build, you want to have gas by this stage in the game, I do believe. At least that's what I think you should do. Anyway, some Zerglings marching out here towards Breath's base. Let's see if these guys do anything for SirBubbles. SirBubbles. Doesn't that come from like South Park or something? SirBubbles. It sounds like a name off of SpongeBob SquarePants, you know? SirBubbles. Even though... Isn't it Bubbles? Isn't that the character's name in South Park? I don't know, I'm second guessing myself. And 3 Zealots versus all these Zerglings, and Zealots are going to win handily. Take a look at how fast these Zerglings die to Zealots. That's ridiculous. That is so OP. Oh, gosh. What? Oh, good night. Says my roommate. I'll be done before you can even finish getting ready for bed, so whatever. SirBubbles floating his overlord right above his base. I should start whispering right now. And drinking more beer. Whoa, Zealot's trying to peek into SirBubbles' third over here, trying to cause some damage, but against these roaches, it's probably not going to happen. Roach speed is now just started. Wow, right as I clicked on the Roach Warren, he just started researching warp speed, so warp speed. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. I'm not going to call it roach speed, I'm going to call it warp speed, because that's what it is pretty much for roaches, is it is warp speed. But anyway, we're still looking at the income tab apparently, and it's 60 to 52 harvesters, which is where it should be for Zerg. Breath now realizing that he should probably start putting down a third base, and SirBubbles is going to have absolutely no problem scouting that with this Overlord. And not a single Stargate out of Breath yet. In fact, he's going for Immortals in response to all those roaches that he saw, which is a good bet. 3 sentries out here to also help out with all those roaches. And yes, it will indeed help. What SirBubbles needs to do right now is attack. He's sending in 1 roach to kind of scout out the field, kind of see maybe it's a good idea to attack. And to scout out this third. And the roach sees that there is indeed a third. Let's take a look at his vision to see if he actually did see that. No, that was his first scout out of that area. So, but he pretty much knows with all these photon cannons, yeah, there's a third. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this Overlord start to move out a little bit. To scout out that area a little bit more. Let's go back to everyone's viewpoint here. Breath building up an army at his third. Look at all those sentries. That is 7 sentries. Ladies and gentlemen, waiting to do some Guardian Force shielding and stuff. So SirBubbles reacting to that third base with a 4th of his own. Just now started, 400 hit points just right now for that hatchery. Breath now thinking, I should probably scout out for a 4th base for my opponent. I'm going to send a couple of Zealots out here to do that, to do just that. Only I'm going to send them to the wrong spot and then stop them. Oh, this is not going to be a healthy engagement for Breath at all. Roaches a tad bit more effective at fighting Zealots than Zerglings. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little. What am I singing? I don't even know. Oh, here comes Brett's response. More units. Gosh, what a surprise. Typical Protoss player, but that is a lot of roaches going to take out this pretty much sentryless army. 2 sentries in this army? Yeah, that's a sentryless army still. That's not a lot of force fields and guardian shields you can put down. That is a free immortal for SirBubbles. And look at this. This is not going to be healthy for Breath at all. All these roaches up in his face. Even with all those force fields put down, that is still too many roaches to not cause a problem for Breath in this matchup. And gosh, look at that. Man, Roaches in numbers are dangerous, dangerous, dangerous for Protoss, especially when they're being reinforced. Are there any sentries left for Breath out here? I don't see any. Nope, no sentries left. And then SirBubbles is going to take this third quite convincingly. So would say Husky. Which is kind of annoying because he says it all the time and he thinks it's such an awesome big word that he says, so. But hey, kudos to you, Husky, for saying big words, even though you say them over and over and over again. Look at this Overlord. He never did anything. He's right where we left him like 10 minutes ago. Didn't even bother to scout the third. He's just like, yep, there's a third there. So now Breath is in a lot of trouble because he only has 5 stalkers outside of his natural with 3 photon cannons spawning. Where's that third photon cannon? Oh, it's right down here. Starting to warp in more sentries, but how much is, you know, even 6 sentries with low energy, it's not going to do much against these roaches. Not going to do a whole lot, but then again, this number of roaches isn't going to be able to do a whole lot against Breath right now either, especially because he has this immortal right here. He needs more roaches, which is what he's getting, but he's also getting Zerglings. I hope those Zerglings don't get in the way of the roaches and sort of kind of kill their range. What SirBubbles needs to do right now is just macro, macro, macro. He got rid of Breath's third. He can easily sit back and get mutas and tech up and do a whole bunch of cool stuff and just get out of this roach tech. But I don't know, all these roaches are going to force their way into Breath's natural and going to cause a whole bunch of problems for him. So yeah, maybe he didn't need to tech up. Just one immortal is not going to save Breath in this situation, but this reinforcing Stalker army just might. But SirBubbles can easily reinforce these roaches and take him out with a nice little crushing blow, because this is not enough to finish the game, especially if they're going up against 2 photon cannons. And yep, those roaches do disintegrate immediately to Breath's army, but he is in shambles right now. Breath just cannot handle another roach attack that big, especially with 2 gateways that have not been transformed into warp gates. Come on, Breath. Come on. A 5th base going down for SirBubbles now. That is 5, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. I can count. I are good at counting. And yada yada and stuff. Take a look at the supplies. Oh man, those are dangerous supplies. If Breath is able to crawl his back, if Breath is able to crawl back into this game, SirBubbles, you sir, are just terrible at this game. Look at that, grabbing the watchtower now. He thinks that Breath is probably thinks that Breath is going to go for some DTs right about now, but he doesn't even have a Dark Shrine coming out, which is probably what Breath should do, because I mean, does Bubbles even have any overseers out in the field? No. I mean, he has a lair. He has lair tech. He even has an additional hatchery, but he has no overseers. Like, how many times has this guy fought a Protoss player? I mean, really? And how many times has Breath been behind? It's like he's never been losing before, and he doesn't even know what to do. Of course, these are a lot. Oh, he's wasting these roaches. He needs to tech up to Broodlords. He can tech up to Broodlords so fast right now, so easily. Look at all these stalkers behind these buildings. They just lay waste to all these roaches from SirBubbles. This is ridiculous. SirBubbles, tech up. For gosh sakes, dude. That's what I do. I'm in silver. If I had a Protoss like this on the ropes, I just go straight to Broodlords. Attack him from this side. Like, seriously? He's not gonna go anywhere. He's trying to claim his third. Oh yeah. Burrow your roaches. See how much that's gonna help when Breath puts down photon cannons. Oh yeah, where are you gonna put your Nexus now? Oh wait, no, it's already down? Oh. Well, shoot. Is he researching the tunneling claws? Yeah. He's gonna see if he can research tunneling claws before these photon cannons finish, so that he can get his roaches out of there. Breath knows that they're there. Of course, he doesn't need an observer. Yep, there they go. Stupid, stupid. SirBubbles, if SirBubbles loses this game, he's pretty much thrown it away. Although I don't see how he can lose with 5 mining bases right now. Yeah, 5 mining bases, kind of. I mean, that is 100. There's probably about 500 minerals left at this base. There's the Ultralisk Cavern. What? An Ultralisk Cavern? Seriously? There's some infestors. I don't know much good infestors are gonna do when Breath uses so many damn force fields that you can't even get to his army, even with infestors. You just create a wall of force fields and step back. I mean, SirBubbles can even take this base right here and call it good, but look at this massive army that Breath has now. I mean, this is going to be able to handily deal with those roaches. The infestors, well, maybe not so much, but I don't know. We're going to see how this engagement goes. Let's watch it in full screen mode, shall we? There's a stalker out for some bait. And now here's the engagement. The Zealots taking out the Zerglings up front. That's gonna be a hard engagement right there. Breath just has to get out of the range of all these infested Terrans now spawning out here to take care of all these photon cannons outside of Brett's third. But they're not going to be able to do much. They're very limited in range compared to all these stalkers. But that is, I mean, look at that. Force fields right there. Now rendering all of those most of those infested Terrans useless. And that's all that energy from those infestors wasted. No more roaches to speak of. And that is why infestors, even versus sentries, not all that fantastic. Especially against Breath, because he's using a ton of force fields. He needs Broodlords and Corruptors. Well, okay, Corruptors you spawn to get Broodlords, but I need more beer. Now Breath is on the offensive against Ultralisks. Like, what the hell? Take a look at the upgrades for these units. 2 armor, 2 attack. Versus 1 and 2. And look at these immortals in the middle of the army. They're going to be able to do so... Okay, well now they just got fungal growth, so... But look at Breath. He's just being so cost effective with his units right now. I mean, even though his army went down... Yay, 1 immortal. Just sitting up doing nothing. Breath just might be able to re-macro up because SirBubbles is just going to sit back. I mean, maybe SirBubbles is just messing with him. I hope that's the case. Unless SirBubbles is like, you know, this is the most timid Zerg I've ever seen in my entire life. He must not ever go to Broodlords, which is, you know, boggles my mind. I don't even know how he got to the point that he is if he never went Broodlords in his entire career as a StarCraft 2 player. Look at how many bases he has now. He's invincible. Just end the game already. Breath is done. He can't handle this. He can warp in all the zealots he wants to. He doesn't have any sentries on the field. So there's nothing to keep SirBubbles' army of ultras and zerglings from getting in the face of all these zealots. And there's the Chi-Chi from Breath as soon as he sees that huge army headed his way. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at where Breath lost the game. Shall we? Let's see. Is this... That's before the first time his third went down. Excuse me. Let's see. Here at the 12-minute mark, Breath had a bunch of photon cannons, lots of sentries, and SirBubbles just was getting his 12-minute roach max on. Kind of. I mean, it's 12 minutes into the game. He's at 165 supply. So let's fast forward this, yada yada yada, there we go. Damn near maxed, right there at 13 minutes into the game. And then SirBubbles comes in with all of his roaches. So Breath just fell to the 12-minute roach max, pretty much. And losing all those units also did him in. But this is like the big catalyst for Breath losing this game. Incorrectly placed force fields to push the roaches back. There's tons of roaches that were still up front. in his face, dealing some serious amounts of damage. And yeah, with that third gone, and SirBubbles fourth up and running, kind of up and running, Breath had no chance to re-macro himself back into this game. Even though he got the third back up, this was the fatal blow. And he anticipated it too. I mean, that's why he got all those photon cannons in front of his third. And if SirBubbles even went for his natural, Breath would have been able to hold it and just, you know, stay in the game pretty much. But yeah, that was not the case. Breath sacrificed his third for the sake of all those probes and was never able to catch up in macro with SirBubbles. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. I never actually thanked you in the first place, so thank you again, implying that I thanked you before, but I actually didn't. So the number of thanks is still at the 1 count, but hey, rate, comment, subscribe. I have 6 subscribers right now. I want 7 when I log back into my YouTube in the morning and check it. You got that? Sons of bitches. Alright. Thanks again for watching. That's number 2. And you guys, have a good night. Where's the off button here?